I got myself together a little bit. This was I hated to see us lose, and I hated to see the fallout of everybody being talked about because Greer, and some people agreed and some people didn't. To me, it's not the point of we got to focus on Greer, although he's the architect. But if we're going to have broad-based media coverage and say this guy, this guy, this guy, the guy who put them in there should be focused. What I do here is just, it's not to say I know all or take everything I say as gospel. It's about consideration. But I'm pulling myself together, and I want to deal with another topic that's probably going to be a little hot button topic. It's the run game. And, you look at the Dolphins, they're number one in the league in their run attack, 2,308 yards, 135 yards a game. You say, our run attack was awesome. And in a way, obviously it was. You can't fault the production, but I want to dial in because you cannot. I had another guy, I don't think I ever spoke to him before. He's like, what are you, blind? We ran 100 yards in the first half. We didn't run enough in the second half. It's not the run game. It's McDaniel's an idiot. Now, I'm not saying he's not an idiot, and I'm not saying he is, but that's not how you judge a run game. You don't judge it on that production either. And there's a reason, a very clear, obvious reason I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the difference between the Dolphins run game and then the Bills run game. I'm going to go over every single pass play, the accumulation of yards at each different gap, the total looks of the defense each team fought, and it's going to be on a graphic, very quick and very clear and very pristine. It's going to show you something. Run production has value. Run attempts have value. There is a major, major conversation in the smart guys talking about football, the science of the attempts versus the production. But where the ball is run has another value. The value of being able to control all the line of scrimmage with your run attack is a long, long talk. I'm not going to get into that. But I want to show you that running between the tackles, the A and B gap, controlling that is the way you get a defense out of pass coverage. And then by doing that, it allows you to make those big pass plays. The Bills did it to us, and we couldn't do it to the Bills. And we couldn't do it against Philly, the Bills the first time, the Chiefs, on and on. In the big key games, for a long, long time, we have not been able to run teams out of their light box and nickel. And this year, we got the production, and that's great. Achane is unbelievable. Mostert's unbelievable. And you go through the whole thing. McDaniel's setting it up to leverage. But the problem was, we are a pass team that likes to throw to the edges, likes to throw to the pocket in the post, and likes to go deep. But if you are only gaining your production on the edges, you can run that same light box nickel. And in effect, those linebackers, as they drop to deal with the pass, have better angles to the edge. Now, it does open it on the cutback and this and that, but you're not putting that pass defense or that defense in a conducive situation for the passer. It also does help in your protection. I'll get into that in a second. So I'm going to show you all that stuff very, very quickly, and you're going to see it's very, very clear. If we had half the production we did on the edges inside, we'd be in the Super Bowl. Because that would then open up the pocket posts, it would open up the deep ball, and it would open up the edges. Bills suffered the same thing. I said the same thing to the Bills for 2 to 3 years. You like to go to the edges, you like to go deep, and you like to go to the middle, and you can't run the football except for the draw, and the linebackers could see the reads on the draw, so they know right away when to drop and when not. But when they went into a different look, began running inside more, then they started opening stuff up with the man on coverage. You look at us. Our defense played unbelievable, guys. It's when you see the film, it's just unbelievable how gutted we were and how well we played. But they had the one-on-one matchups. I saw more 3D linemen, and some of that's because we had the injuries to Chubb and Phillips and also Van Ginkel, but it was also through necessity. than I'd ever seen us play before. Conversely, they never went into 3 D line. It was always 2, and then 2 wide on the 5 tech. Okay, so now I know that what I'm saying might be like crazy Curtis, but let me show you something here. NFL.com article. You might have heard this months ago from me. There are promising signs for the 2023 Dolphins. Tua was pressured at the lowest rate in the league at 24.5%. Awesome offensive line. Which had a lot to do with how fast he got the ball out of his hands. I have been saying that before anyone. The speed of throw and leverage created by Hill and Waddle and the motion by McDaniel set the majority of the protection. Now, NFL.com is agreeing with me. And it was a crazy take. People said, you're crazy. You're a hater. I do my work. I do the research. And so what I'm telling you now, it's not to say believe me, but give me a little credence. So before I get into that, guys, I got to do what I got to do to keep this show going. I love commenting with you. Even I had some guys, some awesome guys, that are like, I don't agree with you. One guy's like, this is a clown take, Curtis. But he was like cordial. I love that discussion. I do have clown takes. I'm a human. You have clown takes. Everybody has clown takes. But it's not about that. It's about having a discourse, trying to get the least clown takes you can get. So I love to do this. The likes, the subscribes, the comments, the views, the thumbs up. I guess that's the likes. And especially the comments. It all keeps this channel going. So I want to say thank you. And I want to give you a shout out, and a shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsors. Because without the 2 of you, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, let's get into it quickly. Now, first half, 101 yards. Second half, blah. McDaniel didn't call enough run attack, okay? But before I get into the part, understand the context. We had a 3rd and short. He threw the wide pass. It was stopped, and he had a punt. It was 4th and inches. We were down, I think 7 or whatever. All right, let's get into it quick. Before we get into the actual look of the 2 running attacks and where they were and all that stuff, you have to understand, we had 101 yards the first half and nothing in the second half. It'd be very easy to say McDaniel should have called more runs, and he might have, but we have to add the context of this. It was 3rd and 1. He threw the wide pass. It got stopped. Now, we were second worst in the league in completing 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 in the run game in the NFL. So do you think you, as a person who's making odds, is going to go with the pass or you're going to run inside when you have that poor of a history? That's debatable, but that's something to consider. So that was one drive. There was only 4 drives. The second drive came with 12 seconds at the end of the 3rd quarter because the Bills, they came out first. We stopped them. We went 3 and out, and they went back, and it kind of, melted out that whole 3rd quarter. False start. The personal foul on Ingold, that was just thrown off. That whole drive was thrown off. He had 1 run on there, but it was just to get some yards. There was no real opportunity. So it's 2 drives. One, you could have said, well, maybe, but the odds weren't in his favor. And the second one, discipline threw it off. But again, you could blame McDaniel on that. That would be fair. It's called responsibility. Then you had the Hill drop on 3rd and 7. You could have said maybe ran inside more on the first, maybe on the second, but Hill should have had that football. That was a huge drop. And so you got to keep that in context. And then the last drive, there was no time left, really 1 minute and 40-something seconds and no timeouts. So the opportunities to run the football were shrunk. Doesn't take away the rationale that he should have ran more, but you got to add that context as well. So here's the first image. This is the Dolphins, and you'll see the defensive gaps, okay? D in circle, C in circle, B in circle, and A in circle. And then above, you'll see every single run play, what they got on that run, and the value behind it. and then I'm going to tally it all up and then show you the Bills and compare the two, and you're going to see something very, very clear, how controlling the A and B gap does more than just create production. It's the values more than that. And it's getting those one-on-one matchups and creating the blitz. And the blitz is where good quarterbacks take advantage. Tua and Allen were number one for a while, I don't know where it was, in getting yards off the blitz. And then teams just stopped blitzing because they could sit all day in the secondary with 7 guys and then rush 4, get the pressure, and stop the run. They let it to the edges, but it doesn't break the nickel like that. And it's not consistent enough to get them in a run-stopping defense or blitz. Savvy? So you can see we got 16, a -3, a hold, a 12, -7, -1, 3, and then 10. But you got 3 big plays in that run to the wide, but then you got 4 negative penalty plays, and then 1, okay, 3. It's subpar. Now inside, we had 1 for 2, which is very subpar. The red means less than, this is not a good play. 12 and 25. Good. That's good. Then you got 12 inside in the C and B gap. Though the edges were really good, but they had some negative plays attached, almost equal. You'd have 1 big play and then 1 negative play. And then that throws the drive off or that 3-down run, if you know what I'm saying. So then you go to the the B gap. So there was the D gap, C gap, and B gap. And you got 12-yard play, a 2-yard play, and a 3-yard play. It starts getting curtailed. Then you go to the A gap. You get 3, 7, 0, and 2. It was 50-50, and 3 is really not a great number. It creates something, but it's less than optimal. So we had 1 good play inside, and then 2 really under what we'd want. Then you had 1 in the B gap, and then 2 under what you'd want. Then you had 2 in the C gap, and 1 was not what you want. And then you almost had 50-50, and if you really add, actually less than 50, you had 3 big plays, 4 negative plays, and then you had 1 that was subpar. So you had big explosive plays, but too much inconsistency. This offense needs to get on track. Too often we are in 3rd and long and 2nd and long. And then that puts it on the defense that's sitting in that light box and nickel to have the edge in the pass game. Conversely, if you get them sucked up and you're on schedule, it makes things easier. But you get a big run for a first, and then you get a run for a stop or a negative, and then it becomes herky-jerky. So our total was 8 positive plays, 3 with some success, 4 with low success, 1 0, and 5 negative versus a light box all game. When you add the second half in, you look at the second half, we got a -2 in the C gap, 2 in the B gap, and we got 1 run inside in the A gap for 8, but that was 2nd and 30. It was just a handoff, and they were playing deep. So really, when you tally it all up, we had a lot of big pop runs, but way too many negative. It's not Barry Sanders. You cannot have stability with that. Now, if you look at the Bills on the other side, and you'll see the green means success, 4 and 5 in the D gap, 6, which is good success, low end, but good success in the C gap. They had 5 and 4 and then 14 and 3. So it was all successful. And then in the C gap, it was a little bit lower success, but 3, 3, and 3. But if you remember, they were facing 3D linemen a lot. Their road was a lot harder. Then you get into the second half. They had 7, which was a nice success. 1, 3, 0, -2, 1, 1. So you're seeing that shutdown, but they're going against that run defense. And then this is why you were seeing some plays get open in the pass game. Then you had 5, 2, 1, 5, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, -1. But some of those, a good handful of those, were for first downs with Allen running inside. And then you got the 3 in the A gap. But when you tally it all up, it's 3 positive, 6 success, 7 with some success, 8 with low success, 1 0, and 2 negative. And when you look at it all, you can see they had 2 negative, We had 5 negative. We both had 1 0. We had 4 low success. They had 8 low success. We had 3 some success. They had 7 some success, 6 success for them, and 3 positives. And that kept the train rolling. This is why they had time of possession of 77 plays. Because even if you get 3, now you're in 2nd down and 7, and you only need 3.5 yards for each play. But if you come out and you're -2, you're in the hole. And so the physicality, forcing us to play the run stop. Yes, the injuries played a big part of it. McDaniel, though, not to excuse him, the limited amount of opportunities in the second half and then the situations restricted it as well. But this offensive run game is like its pass game. Big success and then failure. And when you have a pass game that's not staying in rhythm and a run game that's pop, fail, and can't run inside, it lets them stay in their pass defense. And we cannot get rhythm like that. If Tua could be like Allen, they would have to come up and be more physical at the line of scrimmage. But not how many quarterbacks are like that? Montana won. Marino wasn't mobile like that. Breeze wasn't. You need that inside run game to open up the pocket post, to open up the deep and the edges, and to get them to play more balanced. To have them play the pass game and a run game honest. This is why physicality is critical. This is why controlling the A and B gap is the most critical in the run game because it helps your pass game. Allows you to get short conversions. The pass game is notoriously imbalanced because anything can happen. The guy's got to catch it. You got to block for it. Quarterback's got to throw it. You got a guy who can come and block the pass. You got weather. There's all kind of stuff. The running attack, you block and hand the ball off, and then that's it. It's way more consistent. Pass game is inconsistent. So we have inconsistent high-end edge run attack, and we have an inconsistent pass attack that's facing a pass defense all game. This is why the huge numbers of the Dolphins run game really have to be pulled down. You look at second place San Fran, they run all across the board. Success inside, success outside, success over the middle with the tight end. That's a thing that could help us out a ton. But even if you had the tight end over the middle and you can't run inside, those linebackers play 5 yards off. They did the triangle, middle linebacker here, high, and then the 2 linebackers out low, which means you can run, stop the edge, and then you stop the middle pass. You have to understand this is a highly nuanced game. There's a lot to go over. I could go talk about this for 10 hours, but I'm trying to condense it to tell you that looking at the run production in the first half and looking at the second half is not 1 + 1. McDaniel's an idiot. He might be an idiot. He might have made wrong calls, but it's not that clear. It's not that linear. We need a much better run attack against KC. KC is going to run the football a ton. We were lacking edges. The injury part last week was mostly on the defense, and the defense held them to 14 points. 14 points. So you could blame the injuries, but with Connor down and Waddle down, that's not an excuse. They were missing Davis. So that was the only difference was the center, really, that we had a lesser center than they did. Our stud center went down. But they were missing Davis, and that equals out our Waddle. And Hill is way better than Diggs, in explosiveness. And then we had all these other guys. And we had Achane. We had enough on offense to succeed. And it was on offense that we failed. McDaniel played a part. Tua played a part. But guys, you got to see this inside run game, the inability to control the A and B gap, and the inability to block long-term, like most teams in the NFL. All the teams that are in playoffs just about can block better than us past 2.5 seconds. And they run better on the interior. And that's the key. Middle ground, the A and B gap is how games are won and lost for the most part, certainly over a long consistency haul. Anyway, I think I went on a little bit longer because it's just such a complicated game, guys. It's not. Those sucks! McDaniel sucks. They might suck. Even to me, Greer sucks is a whole soup. But Greer picks everything. He picked the quarterback who sucked, quote unquote. I don't think he does. He picked McDaniel who sucked. I'm not sure he does, but he's green. He asked him to go win a Super Bowl year 1 and 2, and he didn't give him an offensive line. But this is a very complicated game, guys. Anyway, we're going to need that run game. This is going to be brutal cold. They're saying like -6, like all-time cold. It'll be it's going to be all about the A and B gaps this week. And Casey understands that. And they've got a stud 3 group. Creed, Humphreys, who we could have had, but we didn't. We went for Eichenberg. I'm sorry, Eichenberg. Anyway, guys, I love you. I appreciate all you do. Just consider what I say and don't take it as gospel. But NFL is very complicated. And most of what you hear is not trying to get to the truth. It's just trying to get clicks. I like clicks too, though. Guys, and catch you next time. Be well. Go Fins. We got a chance, but guys, long shot. Go Fins, go Fins, go Fins. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.